This is GAA Strength, Muscle and Flexibility Phase 1, Day 1. So this is the leg day. This is the Nordic fall. So you can start your set there, Shane. So there's a few reasons why I love the Nordic fall and especially the lion leg curl with all leg curls. So the main reason is a lot of people leave them out of their programs even though they help heavier lifts like squats and deadlifts a lot. So it's not necessarily that the exercise is that brilliant in itself, it's how much it helps the squats and deadlifts. So if you want healthier knees and healthier hips from doing heavy squats and deadlifts, a huge part of that is making sure your hamstrings are strong and healthy. And this exercise works the hamstrings in a way that's very, very different to a 45-degree back extension or an RDL, good morning, the straight leg hamstring variations like that. So a couple of cues, very, very simple exercise, so you can go there. So you want to stay straight from your knee to your shoulder. So you push your hips forward, squeeze your glutes, and stay as straight as possible from your knee to your shoulder with your chin down. The second thing then is as you're pushing yourself back up like a press up, you want to make sure that you use your hamstrings to pull yourself back up. So the difference between doing that and not using your hamstrings, so just like walk back up slowly, like that, and doing this in between every rep is massive. You're going to feel your hamstrings far less if you do that. So go one more rep, straight from knee to shoulder, and push up and use your hamstrings to squeeze yourself back up. This is the barbell back squat. So you can start there, Shane. So the first thing that we're going to focus on here that a lot of people skip, and it's really, really important because it'll set you up properly at the start. So make sure your grip is even and then you go underneath the bar. Grip is even, tight grip, and then underneath the bar. If you don't do that, you'll end up grabbing it over more one side than the other, and that's going to make the technique a lot harder. So once you have an even grip and you're going as close together as your shoulder mobility allows, you'll see that your back muscles are tensing a lot more. So you can start the set there, Shane. So Shane's flexibility is very, very good. So if you can get that really tight grip of the bar and squeeze and tense all your back muscles, you're going to allow your legs to do all the work, or you're going to allow your legs to express their full strength. But if your upper body is loose and you're grabbing the bar a little wider, more one side than the other, which is such a common mistake, you're going to feel a lot weaker in your legs. You're going to feel it harder to breathe in between reps. So once you have your elbows down, your upper back muscles squeezed together, you focus on toes pointing out a little bit, feet about hip width, bend your knees and drive up from the bottom. Good. This is the walk and lunge, and this is my favorite dynamic movement for the lower body. So you can start there, Shane. So the way I prefer this exercise done the most is with a pretty long stride. So take a big step. And the number one mistake people make when they're doing walk and lunges is they'll take a little pause in between every rep where the feet go together. So just do that for the next 2 reps, Shane. So feet together, and then the next step, and then feet together, and do the next step. So while you might be able to handle, you can go back to normal now, while you might be able to handle more weight if you do that, if you take a little rest in between each set, there'll be less tension on the muscle. So with the walk and lunge, I prefer bigger steps, constant tension, almost the same range as a split squat, so a big step forward. And again, like the barbell squat or a deadlift, you want to squeeze the grip as tight as you can, squeeze your back muscles together, tight grip of the weight, and that's going to allow you to work your legs far harder because you're far more stability. Big step. Good. This is the good morning, and this is easily one of the most underused exercises in strength training. It's the only difference at the start to a barbell squat is you grab the bar a little bit wider. So when you grab the bar a little bit wider, it means the bar goes a little bit lower on your back, and as you're going through the reps then it doesn't slide. Okay, so as you go underneath, you can see it goes a little bit lower again, so it's on the more on the rear delts than on the top of the traps like a squat. So then the setup, your grip or your feet stance is toes pointing out a little bit like a squat. You can start your reps there, Shane. So perfect, 100%. So what we're trying to do there is push your hips as far back as possible. And what we're going to feel a massive stretch in the glutes and hamstrings. And a lot of the top Olympic lifting coaches in the world and powerlifting coaches in the world use the good morning as their favorite exercise for increasing the weight, your max weight, on a back squat or on an RDL. On a back squat or on a front squat. So keep your chin down a little bit and push the hips backwards. Let's go for 5 more. So you don't even have to go that low, just focus on pushing the hips back. Exactly, and back up from there, exactly. So get your hips as far back past your heels as possible. Chin down a little bit more. And push the hips backwards. Perfect, perfect. 2 more like that. Good. Squeeze the bar as tight as you can, pull it into your back muscles and push the hips backwards. Excellent, hold on. This is the horse stance. So there's a few ways to do this exercise, but the way I do it on this program is 10 reps with a 2-second pause at the bottom, and then at the end of the set, do a 10-second pause. So you can start there, Shane. So your chest up, shoulders back, and as you can see there, once you get to the bottom, so up, just 2 seconds at the bottom and then back up. So you want to keep your spine as neutral as possible, push your hips back, and you're going to feel a massive stretch on your glutes and on your groins the most. And 2 seconds at the bottom and back up, and literally by the set you'll find your groins opening up more and more. Chest up, shoulders back, push the hips back, really open up the groins. And the more flexible you are, the lower you're going to be able to get. And if you can get lower than parallel, so lower than, if you can get his hips lower than his knees there, what you're going to do then is move your feet wider again until you're nearly getting a side splits. And the last rep, so hold down the bottom. You want to hold the position at the bottom, the hardest position, for 10 seconds. And it's going to feel a real uncomfortable pull or a real uncomfortable stretch, but it's absolutely brilliant for the groins and the abductors, especially if you've been playing Gaelic football. Getting tight groins, tight adductors is very common. Okay, done. This is the tibialis raise. So this is an exercise that's skipped by most people. So you can start there, Shane. So what we're trying to do is exactly the opposite of a calf raise. So calf raise, you push away. Tibialis raise, you're lifting your toe up towards you. So you'll keep your hips against the wall first of all, shoulders back a little bit more, and then you want to lift your toes as high as you can, as close to your shins as possible, and then all the way back down till your feet are flat. And the first time you do this, the range of motion will be very short and it'll feel very uncomfortable or crampy there in the tibialis on the front of the shin. But after you do it 5, 8, 12 weeks in a row, you're going to feel the range of motion increase massively, and this will lead to far healthier calves and ankles, which makes a huge difference in how you perform Bulgarian split squats or split squats of any kind, deadlifts of any kind, squats of any kind. So it's not necessarily that we're trying to get the calves as big and strong as possible, even though they do need to be strengthened. It's more how much exercises for the calves and ankles and exercises for the muscles below the knee affect the heavier compound movements. Let's go 3 more. Lift your toe as high as you can. So maybe 3 by 10 the first week until you're getting 3 by 20 consistently for a couple of months in a row. If you're able to get 60 of these a couple of times a week for a few months in a row, there'll be a huge difference in how your lower leg looks and feels.